In a 20-game-plus season, what if you could guarantee 5 more goals scored, 5 less conceded, a 10-goal spread, the difference between a championship or mediocrity or a good fun season rather than a miserable one? In some competitions it's been calculated that as many as 60% of all goals scored came from set plays, in others as low as 25%. So let's take the low figure, 25%. 1 in 4 of all goals scored, the chances of scoring. Or from a defensive perspective, decrease the chances of the opposition scoring. Set play principle number 4 is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. The planning on paper of a 7-pass move at an attacking free kick may look good, but it probably won't get beyond the second pass. The simpler the move, with the least number of passes and players in the actual execution, the greater the chance of success. Principle number 5 is fads, fakes and distractions. While we may want to keep it simple in the execution phase, the more players can do off the ball to fake and distract the opposition, the greater the chance of their attention being diverted from the play that is about to take place. This off-the-ball orchestration has to be done with precision and very careful timing. Set play principle number 6 is gifts. All players should be on the alert to see if anything is being presented to them as a gift by the opposition. We've already said when the ball goes dead, often players go dead, and a gifted opportunity may well be presented to score a goal. Number 7 is the spaceman. There are certain spaces and bases which are critical to the success of a set play, both on attack and in defence. No matter what your main system of players, whether it's a zonal marking or a man marking system, certain spaces and bases must be considered. For instance, at a corner kick, no matter what the opposition do on attack, the area in and around the 6-yard box must be of prime consideration. Number 8, insurance, double cover. As we bring players out of their regular positions to increase our team effectiveness at set plays, there is always the danger of being caught out by a lack of cover. The principle of insurance should look at a ring of confidence and cover behind the area of attack, and also at the back of the defence, where there may be great risks in leaving a 1 versus 1 situation. Double cover is the key. Insurance and principle number 9, balance, work hand in hand. Bringing players out of their normal positions to increase the effectiveness of a set play can easily unbalance the team and affect the team shape. The coach must look at this very carefully with regard to who he brings out of position and what accommodations are made to compensate for this should the set play fail. Principle number 10 is XO, excellent execution. This is the principle. There is absolutely no point in bringing your 6'4" centre-back up for a corner and then the corner kicker kicking the ball out of play. The execution must be guided by the square pegs in square holes and round pegs in round holes principle and must be practiced to perfection. The question you as a coach must continually ask is, have I got the right people for the job in executing this particular set play? Principle number 11 is rebounds. Joe Fagan, another coach at Liverpool Football Club, used to say, all forwards should be optimists and all defenders pessimists. In other words, every player should be expecting the unexpected and be ready to react. If so, so-called lucky goals will be scored, or in other circumstances, pessimistic defenders will save the day. The final principle is recovery. An expression in the old country after an attack has failed is get on your bike. In North America, it might be get on your horse. Whatever, after a set play has failed and the ball remains in play, it's very important that players recover back and try to get goal side of the ball as quickly as they possibly can, and then back into their normal positions when the time and the situation allows. So these 12 principles for set play success will be the guidelines for your success as a team and as a coach. Before we go into more specific areas of set plays, as coaches, we must always consider the part of the field in which the set play is taking place. We know that corner kicks and penalties only take place in 1/3 of the field, but free kicks and throw-ins can be taken in all the thirds of the field. The 3 thirds are known as the bottom or back third, the middle third, and the top or final third. For instance, the back third is the no-nonsense zone, where even in possession of the ball to set play, caution has to be exercised. In the middle third, we can be more optimistic, but still need to be careful that we don't risk giving the ball away and being caught on a counter-attack. Looking to get the ball from the middle third into the final third should be the first choice on set plays from this area. The top or final third is where most opportunities are presented to the attacking team, and this is where we'll spend most of our time in this video. From a defending point of view, we need to make sure that we're very well organised in our back third, the opposition's top third, when corner kicks, free kicks and throw-ins are taking place. In the sections that follow, extensive use has been made of 3D computer graphics so that we can look at the detail of set plays from different perspectives. As well, we'll see the real McCoy taken from top-class professional play. But remember this, if you're coaching a U14 team or a high school team or a college team, your players may not be capable of executing all the things that the pros do in the video examples that you're going to see. You're the coach. You must decide and therefore not attempt to put square pegs in round holes or to expect the execution of a set play which is beyond the capabilities of your players. That's why our principles for set play success are so important. In the graphics, we'll use the following legend. The red-shirted players will be the attacking team, the dark-shirted players will be the defending team. The path of the player will be described by a yellow arrow and the path of the ball by a green arrow. Penalty shots may not be the most complicated situation for a coach, but they may well be the most important. From an attacking point of view, there is only one player involved in the initial execution. Similarly, from the defense, you will see from the graphic the ball curving in rather than out makes it easier to connect with the type of contact required. That contact most times will be a bump with the top of the forehead to minimally change the trajectory but not usually the direction. There will be a slightly heavier contact at the front of the black hole as compared to the eye of the black hole as the ball has to travel further into the scoring zone. Too heavy a contact, front or back of the black hole, will make it easier for the goalkeeper and the defenders. The arrows indicating the runs of the players will obviously vary according to the ball played in, but they suggest the most common runs. So let's look at the expectations of the players in the penalty area. Notice we have put 2 players into the black hole as their starting positions. Some teams only put in 1, but the timing of runs is the most difficult aspect of attacking play, so we've made the runs simple. The front player is towards the centre of the black hole and will move forwards, if necessary at an angle if the surface is not too good, to make contact with that ball, usually with the head but not always, as a poor ball in can sometimes be made a good one by a deflection with the foot. Generally, this player will only move forwards or sideways. If he or she tries to move backwards to a higher ball, it will affect the run of our second player at the back of the black hole. The same applies with the second player in the black hole, who moves towards the ball to either make a direct header at goal or a flick on for players at the back of the goal. Our next player makes a run from outside the 6-yard box towards the near post and has the most difficult job. Not only must the timing of the run be right, but that player will have to be brave, as he or she may be diving in amongst bodies to make contact. That player is going into the red zone, the zona rosa, that little area just beyond the back of the black hole, which is most difficult to defend. If we put an attacking player in there to start with, it would take away the opportunity that comes from a late run into the red zone to meet the ball, often from a flick on from the player at the front of the black hole. The far post player has the most predictable role of the players attacking the ball. That player is looking for a flick on or a direct in-swing into the back post, which eliminates the black hole players, attackers and defenders, who are assembled in numbers there. Next is our crafty loiterer, the garbage collector, who always expects the ball to elude everyone and so present a nice opportunity to get himself on the score sheet. That ball may be flicked on from the black hole, or it may simply be a ball that everyone misjudges and arrives in the area just beyond the back post. With all the positions and the runs we've been looking at, assumptions have to be made by all attacking players. The assumption is the ball is always going to arrive in their space and they must be ready to perform. That's why, with our final 2 players shown in the graphic, we need to give a ring of confidence out on the edge of the penalty area. Those players may be a little deeper than we're showing in the graphic here, depending on the type of ball in, but they are in a position to move to any headed or kick clearance in an effort to keep the pressure on the opposition. What we don't see here is what is taking place at the halfway line. If the opposition had left one player forward as an outlet for a clearance and to occupy our defenders, then we would need to mark tightly front and back. Any failed corner kick should not result in a breakaway opportunity for the opposition. So let's look at the video at our corner kickers in action. With this corner, our player at the front of the black hole adjusts his run, and the flick on gives the scorer in the Zona Rosa a great ball. Look at it again. Great adjustments at the front of the black hole and a brave header in the Zona Rosa. In the next one, a fast ball into the front of the black hole is converted into a great goal. Just watch again to see how quickly it all happens with the defence not having time to react. The next one is the perfect execution, XO. Perfect ball into the eye of the black hole, perfect timing and technique in converting the cross into a goal. Another ball into the eye of the black hole produces a deflection header with great work by the player at the far post. Look at it in slow motion to fully appreciate the work of the three executioners in this goal. Good work in the black hole enables the goal to be scored in the Zona Rosa. In the slow motion, you can see how the scorer has to fight his way through two defenders to the ball. Same here, as a great flick on gives the opportunity for the Zona Rosa guy to get a foot to it. Have a look at it again. Left-footed from the left side into the black hole, great skill, gives the almost perfect black hole ball, but it still requires skill, bravery, timing and technique at the far post. A left-footed in-swinger requires a recovery header to get a flick-on contact, and the garbage collector beyond the far post coolly slots it home. Great play. The overhit in-swinging ball becomes the perfect far post ball and is scored by a terrific header. Notice in the slow motion just how many defenders have been drawn into the black hole area, giving the player at the far post a little more room, but not that much to score the goal. Same here, 6 orange players covering the near post and the black hole area allows some space for the far post player to make contact. It was still a great run and a header at the far post. So let us have a look at the starting positions of our players again for the in-swinging and near post corners. You as a coach must decide how many players you assign to attack certain spaces, and you must choose who those players are to be. Square pegs in square holes will guarantee the best execution. Far post corners usually are outswung with the left foot from the left and the right foot from the right side, but that is not always the case, as we've already seen with the in-swinging far post corner. It will depend on the arrangement of your players and their abilities, the square pegs in square holes principle, as to what type of ball is hit. Is it the high ball towards the outside of the 6-yard box at the far post, or is it outswung into the black hole, which isn't a far post ball, but it will be if it clears the black hole? So the coach and the player must decide the type of execution and the position of the players. Here we're showing the way we have arranged the players for the outswinger as differently to positions for the in-swinging near post corner. These positions will depend entirely on the abilities of your players, square pegs in square holes. For instance, if you have 2 outstanding players in the air, perhaps central defenders, the more orthodox outswinging ball towards the far post blue zone we are showing here will be very effective. Smaller, sharper players who may not be able to get as much height in the air for the headers could well be positioned differently and more towards the penalty spot zone. We'll see some examples in the video shortly. The roles and duties for the outswinger are shown in the graphic. As we can see with the kicker, it's a left-footed kick from the left-hand side. Our 2 far post players are attacking the zones shown, but they may be closer in or more towards the penalty spot depending on the service, and whether these are our specialist headers in the air or smaller players attacking the second zone towards the penalty spot. The arrows merely give an indication of the common runs. Our player at the near post area will hold his position to see whether he's likely to make contact with an under-hit ball, but once it's cleared to the back post, will bend in to what is now becoming the back post for the header played across the goal. The player making the run from near the penalty spot towards the near post area will either get the ball that clears the player in front of him or clear space for the far post area specialists. Our loiterer is well positioned well beyond and outside the 6-yard box and towards the back of the penalty area, but he's reading the situation and moving in to take advantage of whatever happens. Finally, we have our ring of confidence with 2 players outside the penalty area looking for any half clearances. As it is a far post corner, they are lying a bit deeper than they would on an in-swinging or near post corner. The arrangement for this corner kick is to give an idea of the roles and expectations of the players and the spaces and bases that must be considered. But you as a coach will need to evaluate the abilities and weaknesses of your own players to come up with the most effective corner kicks. So let's see some far post corners in action. Here, a right-footed kick from the left produces the classic far post header, and it's a magnificent one. You can see in the slow-mo replay how much more of a fight it is at the far post, and you need to have specialists in that area who are particularly good, tall and talented to convert these chances. This time, a more orthodox far post corner is too far out to produce a powerful header directly at goal, but does enough to allow an ever alert and alive teammate to convert the header. Look at it again. Great header, great teamwork. The signal from the kicker would give the impression it is going to be a far post ball, and that may have been the intention, but a centre goal outswinger ends up in the net by a skillful, well-timed run from the back post area, and it wins the day. The principle of remaining always alert and alive, the triple A's, is so important at set plays, as not everything will go to plan, and improvisation and rebounds should always be factored into the scheme of things. And we were talking about rebounds earlier. An outswung ball to the far post not only produces a great header from the player here, but he remains alert and alive and composed to pick up the rebound from his own header and score the goal. Look at it again. Great attacking play, but some very good defending nearly saved the day. So outswingers and far post balls come in a variety of shapes and sizes. Even though we have strongly recommended the near post advantages, the alternatives of different types of corners causes doubts and confusion amongst defenders. To further compound those defensive doubts, let's have a look at short corners. Remember that 2 players going out to the corner could reduce the number of players in the penalty area, but it also presents a very confusing situation for the defenders. For instance, with a player on both sides of the corner flag, is it going to be an in-swinger with the right foot, an outswinger with the left, or a short corner? Does the opposition need to send 1 or 2 players out to negate the short corner and leave other spaces unmarked or undermanned? Let's have a look at some examples of short corners. The simplest short corner, given the opposition must stay 10 yards away until the ball is kicked, is a quick setup with a short kick to a player positioned 3 or 4 yards from the corner. The ball is stopped dead, and the original corner kicker then plays in an in-swinging corner with on this side his right foot. All that's happened here is we've moved up the angle for the corner kick and made it easier for the corner kick taker to hit a telling ball into the penalty area, probably towards the black hole. The second short corner occurs when a player makes a late run out of the penalty area to receive a ball from the corner kick taker. Naturally, that player will be marked, but it gives a 2 against 1 and enables the ball to be played in for a better angle for the corner kick taker. You as a coach must decide what type of ball that will be and what type of runs you're expecting and the initial starting positions of your players inside the penalty area. The third short corner occurs when the player receiving the ball has not come into that position late, but is allowing himself or herself to be marked up. As the ball is played in, 2 alternatives are presented. The player receiving the ball can make a turn and go along the goal line, and if successful, be in a great attacking position entering into the penalty area. In this situation, worst case, the turn down the goal line will likely win another corner. The other alternative is to play the ball back once more to the corner kick taker who now has an improved angle and is nearer to the edge of the penalty area. That player will then read what is the next best course of action, a cross or a dribble or a ball squared back across the edge of the penalty area. A simple overlap run by the corner kick taker once more gives that better angle to play a ball in and may well bring two defenders out of the penalty area to stop a 2 versus 1. In the video, the late run from the penalty area allows a good setup ball to be played back to the kicker and increase the chances of playing a telling ball in, once again, into the black hole. So in the graphic we can see how the angle is improved by a short corner, but also there is a need for adjustments by the attackers in the penalty area, as their runs will not be quite the same as a conventional in-swinging near-post corner. Note too that we only have one player in the black hole area, as the other player has gone to be the second player at the short corner. Another alternative with attacking corner kicks that you should consider, especially with the opposition crowded into the penalty area, is a late run from one of the two marking players at the halfway line, as this will give a chance of a ball being played back for a cross from an angle. There are two problems, however, with this particular ball. The very best ball would be the one hit first time, but that is not an easy thing to do with consistency. Therefore, it is necessary to create a situation where that player has enough time and space to be able to control the ball and play it in with the second touch. The attacking player nearest the space the late runner is looking for will make a run across the top of the box to help empty the space and take a defender out of the play. The second problem is that player who is coming in to make that late run for the pullback will likely leave a one-on-one on the halfway line. So the far player in our ring of confidence must balance that immediately by moving back to create another 2 against 1 on the halfway line, and so restore the insurance and balance at the back. So looking at the graphic, with two players out at the corner, right and left of the corner flag, this gives the maximum alternatives and maximum confusion to the opposition as to what is going to happen next. A near post corner, a far post corner, a short corner, or a pullback. All four are possible. The ring of confidence outside the penalty area keeps the pressure on and stops the counter-attack, or in this case, better still, to keep the corner kick set play going and to produce the ultimate prize, a goal. Finally, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of soccer means we must be prepared to switch from an attacking mode to a defensive mode immediately upon losing possession of the ball. As the white-shirted defending team wins the ball, the blue team must get back goal side, and in particular, defenders who have been brought up from the back. See the urgency of the centre-back here as he recognises possession has been surrendered, and the need to restore team shape and balance becomes paramount. So attacking corners produce a terrific opportunity to score a goal. But if we're going to be successful, we must be just as good at defending them. We will go into that in the next segment. If corner kicks produce so many goals, it stands to reason that we need to work very hard in getting the very best defensive organisation and the correct action once the kick is taken. The biggest single question that arises at defending at corner kicks is, what type of system is to be employed? Should it be a zonal system that defends spaces rather than players, or should it be a man-marking system that takes up a player-by-player system of defending? Or should it be a combination of the two? Nowadays, most defending systems use a combination of zonal marking and man marking when defending at corner kicks, as we see here in the video. And then there is this other defender who quite clearly has a man marking assignment. In the end, it is the player marking the dangerous space around the black hole that saves the day with this magnificent defensive header. So let's have a bit of negative reinforcement. Did too many cooks spoil the broth here? Should it have been the goalkeeper's ball? Who is doing what here? Should you put one man 10 yards from the corner kicker? He may not disturb the actual kick, but this particular action would not have happened if there had been a defender out there already. There are many yellow-shirted defenders here, but not one of them attacks the ball. Is it a question of organisation or disorientation? Likewise here. Who is supposed to be doing what? We've already said in the attacking corners section that a good ball in is going to cause difficulties, but we have to reduce the opposition's chances of scoring. So how do you defend the zona rosa? We're going to make some suggestions here as to where we feel the greatest emphasis should be. But then we are not coaching your team and have no right to do so from this distance. You must make your system fit in with the players, not the players fit the system. Have a look at the graphic here, which identifies the 4 most dangerous spaces when defending at corner kicks. Number 1 is going to be taken charge of by the goalkeeper. But number 2 is the black hole area, where it will be asking a lot of the goalkeeper to be able to cover very much of that area, particularly if the right sort of ball is hit in. Number 3 is going out towards the far post, but you will notice with 1, 2 and 3, they do meet right at the zona rosa area. Number 4 is a much bigger area, almost as big as a combination of 1, 2 and 3, but the further we get away from goal, the less dangerous the space is. So let's now look at how we may defend against a corner being taken from the left wing by a right-footed player and therefore an in-swinging cross. We are going to suggest that spaces are more important than players and that overloading certain dangerous spaces by the opposition will only compound the problem if you mark man for man. But in the end, this is your choice and your players must feel comfortable with the system you go with. Do we send one player 10 yards from the corner to affect the corner kick taker? The fact is, it probably won't affect the kicker too much. But there are other advantages, as we've already seen in preventing the late run short corner. The goalkeeper has a particularly difficult task. In the old days, they used to say, the 6-yard box is the keeper's. Well, that was a long time ago. There is no way the goalkeeper can cover too much of that 6-yard box on an in-swinging corner unless we have Superman in goal. Realistically, Area 1 is about all the keeper can effectively cover, and he may need the assistance of a player on each of the goalposts. The starting position of the goalkeeper is critical. On an in-swinging corner, the keeper needs to be towards the near post and up towards the eye of the black hole, but not so far because he could be exposed to a mishit in-swinging corner that comes right in under the crossbar. Do we put players on both the near and the far posts? We are saying yes. The player on the near post, though, must not inhibit the vision of the goalkeeper and therefore will take position just inside the post, looking at the corner kicker through the side netting. The far post marker, on the other hand, can come off the post a little bit. In effect, we are using 3 goalkeepers to guard the goal, except that 2 can't use their hands. In the black hole area, we've put 2 players. One to meet any ball coming into the front half of the black hole, the second at the back of the black hole to defend that area at the back and towards the middle. As with the attacking runs in the previous segment, we want our defenders moving forward to attack the ball, not staggering backwards into the path of a fellow defender. The zona rosa presents a problem, and we're suggesting here that the player defends that space from a withdrawn position inside the 6-yard box, about centre goal, so they can attack any ball that's coming in there. Standing in that space won't be good enough, particularly when defending against a player coming in on a run who can leap higher and with greater momentum gained from the run. Our player at the back post is naturally covering the back post space. In this case, the far post area player may have to move out and backwards to make contact with a high ball, but the merest touch with the head by this player will usually avert the immediate danger. The big area in front of the 6-yard box and out to and beyond the penalty area is guarded basically by the 2 players, but note their starting positions, which will enable them to be moving in to attack the balls coming into that area. A quick head count will tell you there are 10 players, including the goalkeeper, back defending at the corner kick. Do you need the 11th? You must answer that question. All 11 players back doesn't give much of an opportunity of relieving the pressure once a clearance header or kick has been made. But then the danger at the corner is that the opposing team have a real chance of scoring and an extra player might help. Look carefully at the marginal adjustments that are made from an outswinging corner versus the in-swinging corner. The player 10 yards from the corner will adjust towards the goal line for the outswinging cross. At the near post areas, the adjustment will be minimal, perhaps a foot or 2, whereas at the back post areas, the defenders will be moving out perhaps 2 or 3 yards. Because it is an outswinger, you may choose to pull one player out of the black hole area to use him in far post areas. As we can see, if the attacking team looks to put 2 players at the corner kick, we need to make some adjustments. A 2 against 1 is a disadvantage, and we're suggesting here that the 2 against 2 is produced by the player at the near post moving out to join the corner kick space marker, while the far post player moves to the near post, which we judge to be the most dangerous. The far post area player moves in towards the post to compensate for the loss of the marker. Clearly, the player already 10 yards from the corner gives us the opportunity to quickly make a 2 versus 2 if the opposition begins to set up a short corner. So with a 2 versus 2 out at the short corner and the adjustments made at the far post, we're in good shape to deal with any type of corner that is to be taken, except we haven't yet covered the ball that is pulled back. As we see in the graphic, the ever alert and alive front player of the third line of defence, out towards the top of the box, will quickly move out to put pressure on the kicker. His teammate behind is drawn as if on a string into a covering position. So we've organised ourselves to cover most contingencies. But the triple A's, always alert and alive, now kick in as anything can happen. Let's have a look at the video. The predominantly space marking white team have elected to have no player marking the near post. The keeper is obviously confident that he can cover that area. As the keeper decides it's safer to punch, the white defender in the third row of defenders does an excellent job in closing down quickly and in effect shutting out the route for a shot to goal. One wonders what would have happened if the shot was going just inside the post, with no one marking the far post either. The player marking the space here is in exactly the right spot to clear the in-swinging ball, and does so in a spectacular way. A good challenge here, and the alert defender on the top of the box picks up the pieces and wins the duel. Notice how the defender, picking up the pieces, does not stand on ceremony and sends the ball high and out of the immediate danger. In the next action, a good challenge in the far post area is followed by another challenge again, and the white team keep right on top of things. Scoring goals is what makes soccer so exciting. Preventing the scoring of goals to get the exact positions and expected reactions. Three-dimensional computer graphics won't do it. Watching the pros won't do it, although both can greatly help. Practice won't produce perfection, but it will get much closer to it than if you don't practice. In the coaching methodology section, which follows, you will see practices and coaching methods to help your players achieve a level of excellence in terms of attacking and defending at set plays. For penalties, it may be simply that you keep behind your 2 or 3 key penalty takers at the end of normal team practice to work with and against the goalkeepers. Because shootouts do occur in tournament play, we need everyone to be capable of scoring at penalties. So a competition between 2 teams to see which one can score the most goals at a series of penalty kicks will do the trick and can be fun. You can assign goalkeepers to a team so they are being cheered on by their teammates in the competition. This will also give you a great opportunity to see who is best technically at the penalty kicks. And the competition brings an element of pressure which could be a key factor when it gets into must-score situations. Maybe as a coach you could introduce more pressure to the penalty-taking situation by offering some sort of prize for the winning person or team. Losers buy a soda for the winners. With the pros, the incentive may have to be greater. $1,000 per man for the winning team. Just joking. But we must try to replicate the game conditions and pressures as closely as possible to see who can perform under pressure. With the in-swinging corner, the execution of the kicker is vitally important. There may be players who can do it in practice, but can't respond under the pressure of competition. You need to be able to evaluate, first of all, who has the capability of taking the kicks, and then who is going to be your person in match play. In the in-swinging corner practice that we're showing in the graphic, the team has been split into 2 groups. One team plays the four-a-side, while the other 8 players work on the in-swinging corner and meeting that corner in the black hole. The coach or assistant coach can stand towards the back of the 6-yard box to receive the flick on. You must remember the graphic shows a corner taken from the left-hand side. The in-swung corner from the right may be the most critical because of a shortage of natural left-footed players. Two teams of 11 on the regulation field will give you the nearest thing to game conditions. If you have a squad of 22, then you're lucky, or unlucky depending on the way you look at it, as you can easily and on your own terms work in set play situations in an 11 versus 11 game. As we can see in the graphic, if you want to work on a particular play, for example attacking free kicks centrally, 22 yards from goal, you can just blow the whistle and award the free kick. Or better still, make them work for the privilege. You need to get 5 consecutive passes and the ball must be in the attacking half on the 5th pass to win the free kick. If you don't have 22 players of your own, think about arranging a practice match with another local team. And for 20 to 30 minutes, condition the game so that goals can only be scored from set plays. Use the 5 consecutive passes rule to win corners, free kicks and throw-ins. The 11 versus 11 game shown here is played in one half of the field and is our war game as we battle it out. From the halfway line, a penalty area is marked in with discs or paint and both penalty areas are extended. The penalty area and the extensions form the offside lines, with offside only applying in the final thirds of the field. Any goal scored from a set play counts as 5. Any goal scored in normal play counts as 1. A set play of the coach's choosing is earned by putting together 4 consecutive passes. This will produce a frenzied game in a small area as the team without possession closes down very quickly to prevent the 4 passes. It will also produce situations where free kicks and corner kicks will be conceded as well as throw-ins. The coach should referee but not award incorrect set plays just to get the practice going. All this will do is alienate the team that is being improperly punished. Finally, we're going to look at everything that's right in a set play. The execution, the spaces and bases, the timing of runs, the fakes and distractions, staying alert and alive, putting square pegs in square holes, and you need to keep it as simple as you possibly can. Too many touches and too many passes will only increase the chances of failure. In Tape 2, we will take an in-depth look at attacking and defending at free kicks, and in addition, we'll have a look at throw-ins and other set plays not yet covered. As well, we'll go into much more detail about the coaching methodology. For additional information about set plays, see the book that partners this video.